Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Monday Mindset. We always love knowing who is joining us. So if you're coming in through LinkedIn or through Facebook or through the Giant platform, give us a shout out in the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from. I'm here with Kevin DeShazo. He leads our sports division called Culture Wins. And Kevin, how are you?
Fantastic. Another Monday. Coffee's ready. Excited to get rolling. How about you?
I'm great. I'm always glad to see you when you have coffee. I know what you're like without it. So.
True. It's not good.
I know. No. Do you have a good weekend?
It was good. Went to the lake with some friends. It wasn't a relaxing weekend because we were at the lake with all of our kids. And so
Wow.
5 or 6 couples and I think 20-ish kids, 25 kids.
Oh, man.
So large group. But it was a blast. Good to kind of get away and hit reset for a little bit, get out in the sun, get out on the lake. What about you?
Yeah, I had a great one too. Dear friends, actually my husband's good friend from junior high ended up marrying one of my wonderful friends, a second marriage. And so they had a big reception this weekend, which was really fun. It was kind of strange for two worlds to collide like that, but really neat. What else? We just had people over and lots of food. Food is always involved in the weekends and mowing. I don't know if you know, I'm sure I've mentioned it, but I absolutely love to mow.
You love mowing.
It over and over. It's so satisfying. We have 5 acres, so you just see line after line after line. It's wonderful. And that's when I can listen to audiobooks. I get a lot of reading done.
That's a good point. If I could sit on the mower, turn it on like autopilot, and it somehow knew when to turn, like exactly what to do, and I could just maybe listen to a book, maybe take a nap, then I too would love mowing.
Okay, well, maybe Tesla will come out with a great mower.
That's right.
Well, I wanted you to share a bit. I know a lot of exciting things are going on with you with the sports world. And so for those of you who don't know, Kevin runs Culture Wins. He's part of Giant, but runs our sports division. And you're doing some really cool stuff. Do you mind sharing?
Yeah, it's a fun season. It's been a really, really busy season of building. And if you know the 5 voices, I'm a connector. So building and details are not my strength, but it's been that kind of season, and it's been really fun. We are launching. It's called Culture Wins TV, and it's a student athlete development platform. And so giving student athletes access to 5 voices, giving student athletes access to 5 gears, helping them develop leadership, communication, self-awareness, mental health, personal branding, entrepreneurship, business formation, public speaking, all these things in the palm of their hand, really to develop student athletes into leaders that last. And so we launched that, the plan right now, July 1, and we sit here June 14th. So getting close. I posted a kind of a preview of that on Instagram. If you go to instagram.com/culture.wins, let me make sure I'm not lying. Yeah, culture.wins. So that there's a little kind of commercial preview for that, kind of give you a feel for what that's going to look like. It's a lot of the Giant content, but for that audience, right? And so it's where the Giant platform is amazing, but it's more for professionals. This is more geared towards 18 to 21-year-olds. And then Jeremy and I also launched a course for coaches, not Giant coaches, but coaches of football, lacrosse, baseball, basketball, coaches in the sports world, to help them move from a coach to a leader. Coaching is no longer just about X's and O's and game strategy and practice plans. Like those things all matter. But really being a coach is about alignment. It's about clarity. It's about communication. It's about influence, all the things that we're dealing with as leaders in our worlds, whether you're in the corporate world or construction or education or healthcare. It's the same thing for coaches, and not enough of them have been developed as leaders. And there's just a different mindset and skill set that goes with that. So we launched a 6-session course to help coaches move from coach to leader. So you can go to courses.culturewins.co. There's an option for individuals to buy that for themselves. Or if you're an administrator or an athletic director, you can get that for your whole department, like every coach in your department, for just a really insane price. And the feedback has just been so fun as we've launched that. A number of departments are embracing it, saying this is exactly what our coaches needed. And it just allows them to work through, to invest in themselves at their pace, right? 2.5, 3 hours, some really, really powerful, practical content. So just a lot going on. It's a fun season.
That's so great. And for such a really minimal price, they get a lot. I've seen it, and it's amazing. And I was
Yeah.
thinking the other day, I think I hear this. I've heard you say it. I've heard myself say it, and I hear almost every person that ends up in the giant world is like, I wish I'd had this content when I was young.
Yeah.
And so the fact
Yeah.
that you're getting it into the hands of coaches, which will spread it to their student athletes and all of their staff, it's just an amazing thing. So
That's
you all
right.
teach
That's right.
that.
Yeah. One of my favorite comments probably so far is I wish I would have had this when I started coaching 22 years ago. And it's that mindset. And because I believe this is not just for coaches, this is for all of us, right? An investment in you, like when you invest in your leadership, that's actually an investment into your team. That's an investment into your family. It's like as you get better, you're able to help everyone around you. So it's not to me. It's like, I don't know if that's worth it. I don't know if I should do it. Like one, you should always do that for you. Like if there's an opportunity to get better, for you to get better, you should always do that. But the bigger piece is realizing that you getting better, there's a ripple effect of that. And so an investment in you as a leader is an investment in your team, is an investment in your organization, is an investment in your family. And so that investment multiplies out in really significant ways.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, we've got something fun to talk about. I'm looking forward to this. I know you're going to talk about joy, so I'm going to remove myself and you go for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mentioned, I don't know when it was, in the last few weeks on Monday Mindset, um, the Women's College World Series, which just finished up here in Oklahoma City, and just an unbelievable event. And what I noticed from these women and their coaches, the players, the staff, all of them, is the amount of joy that they played with. All right, if you watch the games, or if you watch, just go to ESPN, go to social media, find any highlight, you're going to see players high-fiving, screaming, chanting, cheering, in between innings, like they're out of the dugout, like getting the fans into it, doing all these cheers and chants. They are just fired up. Like there is so much joy, even when they're out in the field, right? It's not just players in the dugout. After, like if a player makes an out, right? So let's say they hit a fly ball to left field, she catches it, throws it in. After she throws it in, she's doing some kind of crazy dance move, fired up, smiling, and like it's almost like a lot of them, they'll have a move, so they finish their dance move and like throw it over to another teammate who will do some kind of move and throws it to another teammate. And so there's just this constant energy. There's just a constant joy in watching women's college softball. And it's not just during the Women's College World Series. It's all the time. If you just watch softball games, there's always this insane level of energy. And it makes the game as a fan even more enjoyable than it already is. But what I love about it, and the lesson for us, is that it's easy to say, oh, people aren't taking things seriously. It's like, no, they're laughing, they're joking around, they're high-fiving, they're dancing. When it's time to get to work, they get to work. Right? They can be high-fiving, singing, chanting, dancing, and then walk up, get on deck. And as soon as they're on deck, like they're dialed in. They know it's go time. It's time to execute. It's time to compete. They get up to the plate, smash a home run, get a base hit, whatever it is. They are ready to execute. It's not a distraction. They're not having fun while ignoring the work that needs to be done. It's both. And the same thing for pitchers, right? They're up there, they're high-fiving, they're kind of dancing with the team. And then it's time to throw the pitch, and they are locked in, ready to do what's necessary of them, ready to do the work. And it's just such a beautiful picture of like what I think teams really should be, what I think that work should be. Not that we should always all be running around high-fiving and chanting, like that may get a little awkward in the office, but that they are infused with joy. And it's an every year thing, right? This has been going on for softball as long as I've been watching it. But I was especially impressed this year, because maybe easy for you or difficult for you, I should say, to be like, yeah, but Kevin, what am I going to be joyful about? It's like, have you been aware of the past year? Like, it's been really hard. Like we've been stressed. We've got budget issues, maybe a hiring freeze. Our industry has shifted. What am I going to be joyful about? Joy is a choice, and it's a mindset, right? It's about your perspective, because these girls, they've dealt with the exact same things. In college sports, a lot of athletes, they've been isolated from their friends and family for a year in the name of safety, right? They've been isolated from their friends and family so that they could play their sport. It was virtual learning. It was tests every single day. Like if you've had a COVID test, man, it's not awesome. And they're doing it every single day. And there's all sorts of distancing protocols, all sorts of things, just so they could play a game. And you may say that's ridiculous. I'm like, well, that was the choice. Either we make some sacrifices or we don't do anything. And so they've dealt with stress. They've dealt with uncertainty. You get a few players test positive and then a few games are canceled, right? And in your schedule, every day you wake up not knowing what your schedule for the day is going to be because everything was just out of their control. So it was stress after stress after stress after stress, just like the rest of us have dealt with. And yet they chose to show up with joy because that's who they are. That's what they do. In the face of adversity, in the face of uncertainty, in the face of stress and busyness and the unknown, they showed up with joy, and it made a difference. Like, joy makes a difference in your performance. Like, when is the last time that you had a bad attitude and a great day? I don't think it's happened, right? It probably hasn't happened. You've not shown up with a terrible attitude, with stress, with anxiety, with worry, with fear, with negativity, and had an awesome day. Now, showing up with a positive attitude doesn't guarantee that you have a great day, but it certainly gives you a much better chance. And so for them, they showed up with joy. And of course, that, like, teams lost, or only one team got to win the championship, but that's not really the point, right? We make so many things about the outcome. It's like, no, it's about who they were along the way. It's about the lessons that they learned along the way. And they're not going to get out of their sport, out of these competitions, the lessons that they should if they don't have the right mindset and perspective. So if they walk in negative and anxious and worried and stressed, then the game becomes not fun. And the lessons become all negative. But when they show up with the right mindset, when they show up with joy and gratitude, like, one, that's going to help them perform better. Two, that gives them a better perspective in the loss. They actually learn the lessons that they need to learn. So think about you and your workplace and your life. Like, when was the last time you described your mindset as one of joy? When's the last time you described the culture of your workplace as one of joy? Like, and wouldn't that be a place that you'd want to work? Isn't that the kind of person that you would want to be, even in the midst of stress and worry and uncertainty? That, hey, you know, we're going to show up and have fun. We're going to have a blast. We're going to care for each other. We're going to encourage each other. We're going to cheer each other on. And we're going to do hard work. We're going to do what's required of us. We're going to do things that matter, right? Because it's not either or. It's not have fun or work hard. It's like, no, you can do both. And that's the kind of cultures that we should be creating, where we have fun, where a place that people actually want to show up and work hard. That's how you battle through adversity. You don't battle through adversity when you're negative. You battle through adversity when you're positive, when you have the right mindset. And joy is a mindset before it becomes an action. And so to think through, like, where are you right now? Where is your mindset? Maybe you're like, man, I'm not filled with joy. That's okay. What's going to change that? What can you do to start to shift your perspective, instead of one of worry and negativity and doubt and fear, to one of gratitude and joy and hope and fun? What are a few things that you can do to start to move that direction, and to not put that on your boss, to not put that on the team, to not put that on your circumstances, but say, no, I'm going to own that. I'm going to get into a place, into a mindset where joy is what comes out of me. And is that easy? No. That's why very few people do it. But what I will guarantee is that you will have more impact and you will have more influence, because the kind of person people don't want to be around is a negative person. The kind of culture that people don't want to be around is a negative culture. But they do want to be around people who are filled with joy. They do want to be around cultures that are filled with joy. And again, joy comes just simply from your perspective. It's saying, I know everything that's going on around me. Like these student athletes, these softball players, they're aware of what was going on, right? They weren't naive to the world. They weren't naive to stress. They weren't naive to the anxieties and the constant ups and downs and changes. They were very aware of what was going on, but they still chose joy. But to say, regardless of what's going on, there's a lot that's going to happen every day that you won't expect and that you can't control, right? Like we know that your boss will make decisions that you don't expect and you can't control. Your team will do things that you don't expect and you can't control. With the economy, with your industry, with COVID, with everything, things will happen that you don't expect and that you cannot control. But what you can control is your response in the midst of it. You can choose to say, I see what's going on, but I'm going to choose to show up with joy. I'm going to be grateful. And that's going to give me the mindset to run after the problems and actually find solutions and actually battle through it. Because when you're negative, you get overcome by those things. When you show up with joy, you battle through things. So I would actually argue that joy is a competitive advantage in everything, in sports, in business, in your family. You know, Baylor men's basketball won the national title this year. Their one word, their theme was joy. right? That was their word for the year, was joy. And they won the national title because they show up. It's like, we don't have to feel pressure. We can show up with joy. That allows us to play and to operate with freedom and confidence and purpose and not feel the pressure of everything going on around us, because pressure can just squeeze you, right? Pressure can become suffocating. But when you show up with freedom, you get to actually perform and operate at your best. I think the question for us today is, where are you at? Like, where are you at on the joy meter? All right, we just made that up. You can use the giant peace index if that would help. But where are you at when it comes to joy? And what are you going to do to stir up more joy within you so that you can stir up more joy within others, right? Joy is a characteristic that people are drawn to, right? In individuals and teams and organizations and cultures, like it's contagious. Then what would happen if your team was filled with, infused by, powered by joy? Who'd be like, what is going on with that team? Like, man, the economy's doing this and we got budget cuts, but they're still showing up and having fun. They're working their tails off. They're doing amazing work, but they're having fun too. Like, what? That's weird. Like, yeah, we just chose to show up with joy, right? That's a choice that you get to make. You actually have the power to make that choice. And so to decide today to show up with more joy. Tracy, what do you think? Any thoughts, any questions?
Yeah, several thoughts. First of all, I found this picture, which will just make everyone happy as you're talking about this. That's them. That's the team that you're talking about. And I mean, what athlete wouldn't be attracted to being on that team? So, you know, if you're a coach who values joy and who exudes joy, I can only imagine that recruiting gets easier, because who doesn't want to be part of that, you know? And I would say that Patty Gasso is modeling that, and allowing that on her team. You know, you as the coach get to set the culture, that you get to set the atmosphere, and she definitely has done that there. So that makes me happy, just seeing that. Awesome.
And the key point in this is that it's not winning or fun, right? It's like, that's the recruiting pitch. Like, hey, you can come win here and you're gonna have a blast doing it. Right? It's like, winning should be fun. If you're winning and it's miserable, it's not, like, nobody actually wants to be a part of that, because you're done. Like, man, that was awful. Like, I know we won. Like, I don't want to see you people for 3 months. I don't want to touch a basketball or a bat or whatever. Like, winning should be fun, regardless of industry, right? If you have a successful campaign, like if you're in marketing and you just knock a campaign out of the park, like, yes, it probably took late nights and deadlines, and there was some stress involved. Like, that's normal. But there should also be a lot of fun. Or every time a new project comes in, like, oh gosh, here we go again. And you've got to like get amped up to get through that season, as opposed to like, no, we're going to win. We're going to do unbelievable work and have a blast doing it. Like, both are actually possible. Yeah,
it's also a great reminder. We talk a lot here at Giant about celebration, and it's just a great reminder to take the time to celebrate. Some of us, depending on your personality or your wiring or whatever, you tend to not celebrate until it's perfect. So yes, Patty Gasso gets to celebrate, but what about the other teams that played really well? They just didn't happen to win, so they can celebrate as well. And I love it.
Yeah. And to celebrate that, if you feel like it's a huge point, and if you feel like what am I going to celebrate? We're in a season of losing. We're in a season of struggle. I get it. There are always small things to celebrate. It could be somebody's attitude. It could be somebody's effort. Like, celebrate the small things in order to get to the big things, right? You celebrate the things that you want more of. And that's a huge thing for people when they're stuck, right? When they're in that like pit of despair, they need encouragement. And so, like, to make sure to encourage and celebrate the specific things that people are doing. Like, hey, I know we're struggling, but more of that. That was really good. Like, thank you for doing that. Like, I see you, I appreciate you. People will come alive and want to do more of those things.
That's just part of great leadership. And I think we forget that is a component of being a great leader, is to bring that in and to remind the people that are probably discouraged around you. That is part of your rallying cry, you know, as the leader, is to get them pumped up. So, and this is just reiterating what you've been saying, but Tammy's saying, I tend to wait until everything goes my way in order to be joyful. This is a great reminder to choose joy, even when everything isn't perfect. Thanks, Kevin.
I will challenge you, Tammy. Well, one, I agree with you. Go watch America's Got Talent. Just look it up on Facebook or YouTube from the last week. There's a girl, I think her name was Nightbird. I don't remember. Yes. It'll be the one with the most views, is what I will guarantee. She's got like really short, like shaved hair, cancer survivor, all sorts of stuff. One, don't like get a Kleenex, go to Costco and get like a bulk order. I watched this while I was driving. A friend's like, hey, get the tears ready. And so I watched it while I was driving back from a speaking engagement last week. I was shaking, like physically, like almost convulsing, and crying loud. Like it was just that response to it. So get ready. But this girl, she's like, I have a 2% chance to live. They're like, 2%. She's like, that's not zero. It's not 0%. And they're like, your attitude, like, this is amazing. She goes, yeah, but you can't wait until life isn't hard to be happy. It's like, done. Done. It's like, and that's what you're saying, Tammy. It's like, you can't wait until things aren't hard to then choose joy. It's like, no, you choose joy when things are hard. You choose your mindset when things are difficult, because it's always a choice. So go watch America's Got Talent. Look at that video. Yep, this is her.
She is right there. Yeah.
It was just, it's 7 minutes that are just worth your time.
No, I totally agree. I saw that as well. That's really, really amazing. So inspiring. Yeah. Well, this has been great. Once again, always a good just snippet of information to start the week out. And we always appreciate that. And so everyone watching, just go out there and start putting little things in place, little steps to make a healthy mindset. So thanks, Kevin. We will see you next Monday.
Sounds good. See you guys.